So in this part of the tutorial, we are going to create the game over menu, and the game over menu shows two things. It shows the current score that the player just achieved by playing the game, and it shows the best score that the player achieved by playing the game at all time. And then it also has a retry button that will make the game restart if you click it. And right now we have a reset button here, as you can see in our canvas. Under here we have a reset button. And we are not interested in a reset button, we want a retry button instead. So you can simply just click on it and press F2 and then write retry. And if we enable it, you'll see that it's kind of large and it doesn't really fit with the text. This is just a temporary button. So to fix this, to make it more, make it look more like the ZigZag game, we can take the text here and write retry. And we can make the text bold here on the font style. And then we can simply just make the text move a little, because right now it stretches with the button and we're not really interested in that. So basically we can click on the stretch here and put it in the top left corner so that it follows the button, and then select the rect tool here to the right, and then move the retry to the middle of the button. If I could select it here, see that I can move it around, and basically you can put it so that it placed in the middle of the button, kind of like here. So yes, because apparently even though I select this middle here, you'll see that it doesn't really look like it's in the middle of the button, even though it has the same size. It's a bit above the middle. So if you want it exactly in the middle, you can take it and pull it a little down so it goes in the middle of the button. So right now when we play our game, you'll see that the button gets quite large. If my computer would play it, there we go. You'll see that the button gets so large here and the retry is written in the top left corner. And that is because of the canvas scale. So you have to click on your canvas here and select the UI scale mode and change it from constant pixel size to scale with screen size. And now you'll notice that the button just changed the size. We can take the retry here and we can take the text and scale it down so that it fits this size a little better. Also move this kinda to the middle here. There we go. Okay, so now we have like a button that fits a little better. Maybe we need to rescale it later, because I think actually the button in ZigZag is like more proportioned like this. But we can always rescale this and make it as we want it. So we can see here. Simply gonna take this and move it a little. So maybe we should make a little like fat button like this. Okay, so when we've done that, we will have to play the game again to test if it works. And then you'll see that the button is keeps it the same size. And as you can see, the retry is like not placed in the middle at all. If I do like this, yeah, that's maybe better. Yeah, okay, so now the retry is placed in the middle of my button because I changed this alignment to the bottom one here instead of the center. Apparently bottom one is more centered when it's written retry. So that's the button, but as you can see, this button is white. In ZigZag, it's actually marked as a gray color. So we can select the retry here, take this color and move it a little more towards the grayish, like this. Now we have a gray button. And besides the retry, we'll also need some kind of plane so that we can have our score and our best score on it. So we'll have to right click on the canvas, click UI, and then we'll have to select a image. And this is the image that's going to be our background. And this background image should be quite large, or at least larger than the button. Try to make it like, I don't know, like this or something. It's like, it needs to be a little larger than the button at least, so that we can put some scores in there. Of course, as usual, just rescale stuff so that it fits your needs and how you want it to look. I'm going to move retry down a little, and I'm going to take the image and move it a little above, just like this. Okay. So in here, I am going to write my score. This color is also needs to be gray, so to select the retry, you can go to the color here, Then you can copy the hex color here, and we can reuse it on our image like this. Click on the image, select the color, and then paste it here. Then you'll see that they'll have the same color. But right now it doesn't have a source image, and we can select that on the radio button. And then you can simply just find any source image you want. Maybe you have downloaded one, maybe you've created your own. I'm just gonna go with this background here. It's just a simple, I don't know what it is, why it's called background. It's something I imported earlier. Doesn't look like it's some standard Unity asset apparently. So select the image and select the background, then you'll have this kind of background here. So rename this to background and put it on top of the retry. So the retry and the background needs to be two different objects, because in ZigZag, the elements whenever the player dies gets pulled onto the screen from the side one by one. So first it's the headline, then it's like score and so on. Besides this, we will also need the headline that says game over. And we can do that by clicking on canvas. Wait a minute, I need to check the retry button. It needs to be, instead of stretch, the retry button, of course, doesn't need to be stretched, it needs to be centered here. So select your retry button and select the anchors here and select center, so that the retry button doesn't get stretched with the screen size here. Okay, that looks quite okay. Then we will need the game over text. So right click on the canvas, go to UI and select the text and write game over with caps and select bold. And then maybe we want, I don't know what size did I use before. I used 40, so let's try with 40. And then when your text disappears, it's because it goes outside the bounds of the box it belongs to. So just scale the box up and you'll notice that it actually comes back in here. And then you can simply take it and move it on top here. Yeah, just here. So now we have our game over text, we have our background, and we have our retry button. And you can take these and move them maybe a little down so it's more in the center of this. As you can see here, this one is bugged. I don't know if it's after I updated to Unity 5 or something, 5.2. But my score text here in the corner is actually bugged whenever I don't play the game. If I play the game, I think it should work. Okay, it's still kind of bugged. There's some weird text here. So to fix this, we should simply just replace it with a normal text. We'll do that later, because we will have to replace it so that it fits the game's needs better. Because I don't know why, but last time I made this, I scaled it kind of weirdly, the score in the corner. So we'll have to change something so that it scales better. You can take the text here, game over text, and place it so it's more like center aligned. I don't know, on that thing. We can take all of them and move them a little more to center. So basically you can try to find the center of this screen. I think this place is fine. And then we have the text here. Let's rename it to game over. Press F2 and write game over. So besides this, we'll need to have the score and the best score written inside this field here. So we'll have to create new text. Right click, UI and text, and we can write score. This is our current score. So we can simply just move that up here, place it in the middle. I don't know if I get that with game over. No, I didn't. Just place it in the middle as well. Then we have the score here. So this should be written here. Boom. Just make it fit with the borders of your gray area here. And then write score. Duplicate it and draw it all the way down here. And then call this one best score. So this is my best score. And I can basically make this be in the middle and click on the other one also and put it in the middle aligned here, so it doesn't go in the top. And you can change the font size. I don't know what size fits best. Not sure, maybe something like 20 or something. Let's try score 20. Yeah, that's okay. Best score size 20. So now we have the score and the best score, but we also need the actual numbers. So duplicate best score and rename it to B score. Best text. So this is the best score text. We can move it down here, align it, and this should read the number that you just earned when you played the game. And the best way to do that, just see if I can move it down without moving it to the side. And this should read the number, so just write a number, for example 0 here. Actually, we can select the best score and then make sure that it fits the alignment of the sides here. There we go. And there we go. And the same goes for this one. Then we're sure that they're going to be aligned. And we can also do that with our score up here, if it wasn't done already. There. So this is our best score. The thing is, with this best score, best text, it'll have to be larger than the best score. In the ZigZag game, this text here is small, and the number score you earn is larger. So change this one to 40 or something. Maybe make it larger here. So it goes down so you can see something. So the score number is going to be written in 40. So duplicate best text and move it upwards so that it's underneath the score. So now we have score and best score, and then you can select the best text copy here and rename it to score text. And this one can basically go under the score, and the best text can go under best score. So we have child objects like this. Okay, so the score and the best score can be made into child objects of our background. So take the score and put it on the background. Take the best score and put it under our background. And the retry button is one element alone. So we should have our background, our retry button, and our game over. No, this score text here, it's just a copy, okay. So what you should have now is background, 2 child elements, retry button, text, and the game over up here. So these are the 3 objects we'll have to move in from the side. Whenever the game finishes, you'll have to move them from the left into the middle and stop here. So the next thing we'll need to do is to create the animation for all these objects here. And the animation works like this, that they start outside the screen, and when the player dies, they move in one by one element at a time. So first game over moves in, then the score moves in, and then retry button moves in. So to be able to move these as one animation individually, we'll have to make a parent object and animate these. So you can right click on the canvas and create new UI and select image, and then rename this to menu. So this is our menu. We can right click on the image and remove it because we don't need this. And we can take all these elements here and move them underneath the menu. So the menu is the parent, because we'll need to select the menu whenever we need to move these objects. Okay, one thing you'll need to take note of is the object's position right now, because right now all the objects has position -3, and this is the position we would like to move them towards or to. So whenever the player dies, these objects will move from off screen into position -3 on X. The Y position doesn't matter because they are different. So select the 3 objects and move them all the way outside the screen to position, should say 500 and 530 or something. That's just outside the screen here. So now we'll have to create the animation, and the animation can be made from or by clicking window and by clicking which one is it? Animation here. And this opens up the Unity animation window. And this is the old school animator that Unity had like for a long time, where you can create animations by moving one object from one position to another position and then record it as an animation. And that way you create some kind of animation you can use in your game. Of course, this module here has been updated so it works with the new mechanism system, which you'll see later. So you can just dock this animation somewhere. First of all, we will have to create a new animation. So we can select the animation window and click the create button. And in here we'll have to create a new folder, and we can call it animation. And we have one folder here we need to delete. And inside the animation folder we can create this new animation called game over. So this is our game over menu. And save. So now you can see there is this timeline here that shows like the time of the animation, so you can put this timeline somewhere, move something, and then put the timeline somewhere else and move it again, and then it's going to move between those 2 points on the timeline. So right now it has been selected as animation. You can see right now it wants me to create a new animation. That's because I didn't select the menu when I created the animation. I selected one of these objects here. I select the game over. So now the animation works for the game over, and we're not interested in that. So we need to right click on the game, click on the game over and remove the animator if you did that. And go to the animation and delete these 2 things. Because I need to create the animation for the menu. So I actually forgot to select the menu before I clicked this create button here. So if you had like me, when you click the menu again, that this create button is up, well then you need to delete the animations you just created and make sure that there is no animator attached to these. Right now there's an animator on retry. Right click, remove it, we don't need it. And there's no animator here and no animator here. On the menu, select it and do the same again, create and write game over. There we go. So now we have it at the correct position here, because we have game over selected on the menu, which means we can move these objects, which are child objects of the menu, without creating a separate animation for each of them. So first of all, game over needs to start from position 530. This is the start position, and it needs to go to position -3. So what I just did, I selected game over, made sure that record here is pressed. I wrote the start position 530. I moved the line here to another timestamp, and I wrote -3. So now you can see if I move this, the game over moves from between these 2 positions now. Okay. So the next element doesn't need to move until game over is in place. So I select the position where I have game over on this right position. Then I select background and I put position 530, press enter. So now it's saved there. Now it made like 530 as the start position. Then I move a little further down the timeline and I write -3. So now you can see it starts like this. Game over moves in. The score comes after. And now it's the retry's turn. So I will have to write on the retry 530. And then I'll have to move out and write -3. So now we can see that first of all the game over comes, then score comes, and then retry comes. You can see that they start moving, these 2 starts moving before they should. That's because they have these anchor points here. So basically we can select this one and delete it for the background, and select this one and delete it for retry. So now they shouldn't move until they are supposed to. Yeah, there we go. If you need the animations to be longer, then you simply have to put the distance between these points to be greater. For example, if I needed to take longer time for game over to move from start to end here, then I can select, find game over here. These are the ones for game over, and then I can move them out here. For example, now I've selected both of them. I can also click only on one of them here and then move these further away. Then you'll see that now it takes longer time for game over to reach this end position. But I'm not interested in that. I just want it to be like this, I guess. Let's try to play the game and see how it looks. So I need to stop recording here. There we go. Okay, so now it loops, right? And you can see it goes pretty fast. So maybe we actually need to do this a little slower. So to fix this, go to the animation, select the game over animation, and this loop time here, just uncheck it so it doesn't loop. Now it only play once. if I double click on the menu here, inside the animation there is this menu controller here. If you double click on it, it will open up the animator window. And if you click on this, you will see the speed of this animation. We could either go to the game over menu animation here and change the distances here so that they're longer and so on. Or we can simply click on the game over, set the time speed to be 0.5. Now it's half speed. And if we play the game again, you'll see that it moves slower in now. As you can see here, it says boom, boom, boom. So this looks maybe a little better. I'm gonna stay with this. Okay. So right now it actually just plays right away. So when I play my game, it simply just shows the game over screen, and I'm not interested in that. I would like to show it whenever the game is over. So we'll have to add some parameters here. So the parameter we would need to add is a trigger. So select parameters and click on the little plus here and select a trigger. And this trigger should trigger the game over animation. So when the player falls off the cliff, this should trigger. So write game over. This is what we're going to call the trigger. And then go to the animator here, right click, create state, and select empty. And this is our empty state, so just rename the state to alive. So this is as long as the player is alive, this one is running. And then we need to right click on it and set layer as default layer. So this is our default layer now, this alive thing here. So to transition from alive to game over, and if you have a hard time seeing them, you can hold down the middle mouse and move around here so that you can see everything. But anyway, if you need to make a transition from alive to game over, we'll right click on alive, click on make transition, and then click on game over. And this enables us to move from the alive state to game over. As you can see here, if I delete the transition and I select my menu here and play the game, and not in full screen of course, because then we can't see anything, then you'll see that the alive state keeps being played here. So it's played over and over again, and it needs to go from the alive state to game over when this trigger is triggered. So right click on alive, make transition, game over, and then click on the arrow, and here is the condition for triggering this. First of all, we don't need an exit time, so just remove this little tick here. And the fixed duration, well, don't need that. And transition duration, also put it to 0, because when we want to show the game over menu, we want to show it right away. We don't need to have any wait time at all, so just remove these things. Then on the condition menu here, we will have to click the little plus to open up the conditions, to add a condition. And already it just selects our game over condition because that's the only condition we have. So right now this transition states that we should transition from alive to game over when this condition is met. So that's when the game over trigger is triggered. So right now we can go from alive to game over by this trigger. Let's try, play the game. And if we click on the trigger, boom, it actually starts to play the menu. See it again. If we trigger it, the menu is shown. And this is what we need to do whenever our player dies. So basically we'll need to trigger it from the script. So let's just go to our script here. And in the player, I guess it's easiest. I'm not going to make another script. Actually, if you would do this right, you could make, or if you want to do it like more in order, what should I say? You could make a new script for just handling the game over menu or something. But I'm just going to do it in the player. Anyways, let's see. We have something that says if the player is alive. Here. There's this dead thing. Let's figure out where it is. There it is. So here we actually die. This is where we kill the player. So here we have to trigger it. So to do that, we'll have to access on the canvas. We'll have to access, on the menu, we'll have to access this animator here. Go to the animator component here. Go to this animator here. Select the game over trigger and trigger it so that the menu is shown. So we need to go to our player. We need to create a what is it called, a field. So public animator is our animator, and we are going to call it game over animator. So this is our game over animator. And down here where we are dying inside the exit, you're going to say game over animator, set trigger, game over. So this is the name of your trigger. So you have to write it the exact same way as you just wrote it out here, game over. There we go. Yeah, let's try to save this, jump into Unity, select the player, and here's the score text and the game over. Let's check the game over first. Game over animation, that's the menu it sits on. Here's the menus. Now it has a reference to this, so whenever I die, maybe it comes with, yeah, okay, we need to fix that score first. So before we had that score bug, in here, let's see, we have that combat text canvas. Yeah, apparently I don't have the score at all, I deleted it. So before we had that score bug, and we'll have to add the score again. So on the canvas here, just if you have the score, if you still have the score in your scene here in the top left corner, then simply just delete it, because we'll just add it again right real quick. Right click on the canvas you have, click on UI and select the text. Take the text and we'll move it all the way to the corner here. Make it a little smaller so it fits in the size. And then select so that it's placed in the middle here, and then you can make the size a little bigger, maybe 40 or something. Try to scale it up here, and then you can write a number in it when you have selected the text. Just make 0 so we can see it, and maybe just put it on the right side so it goes all the way to the edge, and move it a little. So, and then just set this anchor here on the text, the new score you have, set the anchor to the top right corner here so it keeps being here in the side. So, and then just rename it to score. So now we have the text, which is our score. We set the font to font size 40. We made sure that it's aligned in the right side in the middle, and we made sure that the box here is large enough to contain the number. If it's too small, you'll see that it disappears, so just make it a little larger. And then we just, instead of having it here so it's right on the edge, I just moved it in a little so it's a little away from the edge. And there we go. Then click on the player and find the score text here. There's none here. Take the score and drag it on here. Let's try again. You see the score is increased now. And when I die, boom, game over, and it shows this score screen here. Let's try again. If I die, boom, right away, game over. So the next thing we'll have to do is to show the score on the game over text, and we'll have to change the color, because every time we get a new high score, let's say that 3 is my high score, then this background here changes into purple and the text color changes into white. So we'll have to add that as well. But first of all, let's add the score and the best score, of course. So to make a reference to this, we'll have to jump into our script, and inside the script we can add a reference, like to reference to the text. So we can make a public text called score text, and another public text called best text. So this is our best score and our normal score. So we already have a score text here because that's a reference to the score in the top left corner. So we can call this one current score text. So let's save this, or actually not current, but let's call it last score text. So this is our last score text. So these two needs to reference the numbers in inside the scene. So if we go down here, in all the way to the bottom here, we will have to make a function called game over, so that all the functionality that has something to do with game over goes together. So for example, showing the menu is a game over function, and changing the score to show to the player is also a game over function. So underneath the on trigger here, we will have to make a private void called game over. And inside this function, we'll have to set the trigger. So take the game over trigger here and cut it and move it all the way down here. And then up here, we can write game over just to save it, just to use the function. So now when we play the game, it works exactly the same as before. So we have to set this trigger, but we also have to set the score text. So our current last score text equals score. So the score.text, of course, what's it called, score to string, there we go. So this current score we just earned is going to be equal to the last score.text. So if we save this, and now we have the game over function, and we're calling up here, and we're setting the trigger and setting the score text. If we save this and we jump back into Unity and we play the game, then you'll see if we try to get a lot of points here, die. Oh, then of course we get a reference exception because I was a little too fast. I would need to assign that score text. So on the player, have to click here and take the last score and take the score text here and move it all the way here. So the last score references the score text, this score text here. Let's try again. And now it died before the game actually started. I need to fix that as well, so you can't run off the edge in the beginning and so on. There we go. So now you can see the score 14 is shown here. But we'll also need to keep track of the best score, so that if you beat your best, then it should change. So we are going to say player prefs integer best score equals player prefs. And player prefs is a way of saving something and loading something in the memory in Unity. And player prefs dot get integer best score. And yeah, and the default value is 0. So if we haven't saved anything, it's going to return 0 as the default value. So first time we play the game, the best score is always 0. So this basically stores the value of the last best score here, or of the best score. Then we have to make an if statement. So if our score, which is our current score, if that's larger or better than the best score, well, then we need to store the old score here as our best score by saying player prefs dot set integer best score, comma score. So then we're changing our best score to this score here, and we can just say our, then we can just do our best text, that text equals player prefs dot get integer best score. Then we're getting the best score again, the text, and of course it needs to be get integer to string, so that we translate the number to a string, because it returns a number like this, like 1, but this is a text, so we need to change it into something like this, so that the text here can understand what this is. Let's try to save this and jump into Unity, and remember to go to the player. You can see it has the best text here, so we'll need to assign the best text to that right here. So now we have the score here assigned and the score here assigned. Let's try this. So first time we play the game here. Try to get like some points. There we go. I got 7 score and my best score is now 7. So if I wouldn't beat that, let's say that I'd only get 2 or something. 3, then you see the score here is 3, but the best score is 7. And you can see I can beat the score by getting 8 points. Or 13, yeah. So I got 13 point, I got 13 score, and we have a best score here. Okay, so right now in ZigZag, it's actually written when you get a new high score, when you get a new best score, it's actually written here underneath game over. It's written new high score with an exclamation mark after it. So to do that, we'll have to add an extra text. You can basically go to game over and duplicate it. Let's move it just underneath game over here. Basically we can put it as a child object of game over, and we can rename it to a high score. Just call it new high score. Go. This is our new high score, and the text is very small, so basically we can change this font size to, I don't know, 20, and then we can move it down a little. So it's right here underneath game over, and it should state new high score with an exclamation mark here. And this one only needs to be shown if we get new high score. So basically from the get-go, we would like to disable it, so it's not shown, this new high score. And then we need to go to our script, and up here we'll have to make a new public text, new high score. Yeah, new high score like this. I think I'm not even sure if it's 2 words or 1, doesn't really matter. So new high score, save it, jump all the way down here. And in game mode, if we get into this if statement here, if the score is better than the best score, well then we have a new high score. So we can say new high score dot enable equals true. Or actually, let's say new high score dot set active. I think that's what they want us to do. Set active true. So this will enable the high score object. So if we jump in here and we find our player, and then we can take the new high score object and drag it to the new high score spot here. So you'll see if we play the game now and we don't get a new score, if I just die right off the bat here, it's just 3 score and the best score is 13. Let's try to get more than 13 points, if I can do that while talking, I'm not even sure. Yeah, there we go. Then you see new high score is written underneath here, under game over, new high score. Okay. What else? We will need to change the color of these things here. So basically, let's change the color of the background first. So we make a public image and call it background. I didn't do that already, did I? Nope. And we should change the color to purple if we get a new high score. So here we can say background dot color equals new color 32. And then we need to get the purple color. So we can go to our scene and then find the background here. Here's the background, and then we can select the color, and we can go to something that is purple, pink purple here, and we have the color. We can take the RGBAs here and say 255, 118, 246. So 255, 118, 246, and 255. So now we set the background color to that color whenever we get a high score. Let's try to save this. I have a kind of a high score. I'm simply going to delete it, so I can say player prefs.delete all, just to make it easier for me to obtain that high score every time when we're testing. Remember to delete this when you release your game or when you play your game for real, because this is going to delete your high score every time you play the game. So now it's purple. I don't want it to be purple, so I can just Control C, so it goes back to gray. And if I play the game now and I get a new high score, it should turn into a purple color. Okay, of course, I forgot again to assign it. Apparently I'm way too fast today. You can see background is not assigned. We'll have to go and take the background here and assign it. Nope. Actually, that's not what I want to do. Background. It's this one I want to assign. Was it that one I assigned? I guess so, yeah. Okay, so let's try again. So when I get a high score now, which I will do every time, it will turn purple. Yeah, as you can see. So now it's purple, and has that's the right color for showing the new high score. Okay, let's try to delete this. Delete all. Okay, so the next thing we'll have to do is to make sure we have a reference to the score and a reference to the best score. And actually we could do this in an array. So let's try to make an array instead of having a reference to all these score text here on the player, because as you can see we have game over and we have best text and so on, and we would like to create an array to handle it easier with less variables. And if we make an array, we'll also be able to just make a for loop that runs through them and changes the color to white, so we don't have to make lots of lines of code. So basically we can go up here and make a public text called score texts with an S after. And this is going to be our array that will contain all our scores. So let's do it step by step so we can change it little by little. So if we're down here in the bottom, after we change the color to purple or pink, we can say for each text txt in our new collection we just created, score texts. So inside that collection, every time we look at an item in that collection, we have a local variable called text that we are referencing in here. So we can say text.color equals color.white. So this will change the text color to white. Try to save this. And then we have to go to our player and see that we have size of 4 because we need 4 text elements. We will need the score as position 0. We will need the best the score text as position 1 and the best score as position 2 and best text as position 3. So all these texts we have up here, we are actually putting down here now. So now we have a reference to every one of them inside our score texts array we just created. So right now if we play the game, they should change into a purple color if we get a high score, that is. There we go. And this changed into white. So now you'll see we have score 4 and best score is 4, and it's both of them are turned into white. As you can see, we don't need these up here anymore. We just need to make sure that our score text and our best text is set from the array. So that's element 1 and element 3 we'll have to set. So if we go down here inside our game over function, we can say last score the text. Instead of that we can say score texts element, what was it now, I forgot myself, element 1, and then cut this and paste it right here, equals score to string. So delete this, and down here when we say best text we can say our score texts element 3 is equal to this. See, that's a text field dot text dot text. There we go. So now we're setting it through the array instead of using those variables we had up there. So basically, let's try to save this and see if it still works. We go, and they're white, so it works. So this means that we still have these unused variables up here. The score text, the best text, score, we still need that. So score text, the best text can be deleted up here in the top. Best text there. And I guess it was last score text. That's it. So these two can be deleted. Maybe I deleted something wrong. Let's see here. I need to get an overview of this. So new high score. We need that one, and score text. Yes, okay. So it was these two. Just delete public text last score text and public text best score. That's correct. So if we play the game now, everything still works. And as you could see, sometimes you die without going all over the edge. I'll of course add another video to fix that, to make the functionality a little better. But there you have it. Here you have the high score that looks like it does in ZigZag. And if you click the retry button, well, then the game restarts. Don't mind the colors, just here in the editor it bugs. Now I got 10. Okay. Let's see, do I have that player prefs? Yeah. So I have the player prefs that deletes everything. Need to remove that so it doesn't delete the score. So now if I only get like, I don't know, 1 or 2, then it shows the score here. My best score is 10 and it's free, and it's not a new high score as it stated before, as you can see. So there you have it. This is the menu from the ZigZag game. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter and like my Facebook page. And of course, as usual, if you're interested in code, then go to the link in the description below and see how you can acquire it. You can either just get this project, or you can support me as a patron and get all my project and everything I ever made and you'll get all the updates. Of course, if I add something else, then it will of course also be updated in those files that you can download. Yes, thanks for watching.